Hey, what's up there, YouTubers? It's me again, Brian, aka Gamer 55551, and I am back with the My Two Cent video for this week, for the week of September 1st to September 7th, 2024. Before we get started, I do want to point out there won't be any video review for this week. Something kind of came up and I got to deal with it this week and everything like that. So unfortunately, there won't be any video review for this week and everything like that. So for those who may have been looking forward to it, sorry if that comes off as a bit of a disappointment, but you know, sometimes certain things, life happens, and you got to deal with it. Though that outside of the fact that it's where I live is warm right now, like hot to be exact, though. But in either case, though, we got 5 stories to cover this week, including including some interesting new rumors about Switch 2 and maybe be revealed this month or anything like that. Concord is basically officially dead and everything. Some major layoffs at Rocksteady. An interesting spot where Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom might be in terms of regarding the Zelda timeline. And comments made by the former designer of the Star Fox series about the possibility of Star Fox coming back and everything like that, along with F-Zero and all. If you're interested in where I got the source of these informations, links will be in the description of this video, assuming you watch this on YouTube, and I'll post it at the beginning of the video if there are certain parts of the video you wish to skip to. Same with the links, the timestamps will be there and all. But before we get started, though, I would like to do what I like to call the My Two Cents, stories that kind of caught my attention, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail. So the first one has to do that Nintendo has updated their content creation guidelines in terms of for the multiplayer side, and this has to do with what they view as maybe multiplayer meddling and everything like that. I'm not really big into multiplayer, so I'm not losing huge sleep over it, but I can see where it could be an issue for some out there, whether it's Mario Kart or Splatoon, to be exact though. And Nintendo, let's just say, has been very, well, let's just say they have a history of, with content creators, I won't say the best history out there, although they supposedly have eased up in certain parts, but we'll see how this plays out though. We also learned during an interview, Charles Martinet talked about, you know, his favorite Super Mario game at Nintendo Live. I believe this was in Australia this week and everything. It's a very interesting interview. It's worth taking a look at if you have the chance and everything like that. We also learned that the producer of the Mario plus Rabbids series is leaving Ubisoft Milan after 16 years working there at Ubisoft. It is a little bit unfortunate though. I do enjoy the Mario plus Rabbids series. It's just that given how Sparks of Hopes didn't sell as well, although you could debate who you're asking the question towards that, it does throw into questions the future of the series and all, and it'll be interesting to see if we see another entry over on, you know, the Switch successor and everything like that, or the Switch 2. We also learned that basically Level 5 will be hosting a special online event on September 24th. It will be looking at a couple of games that Level 5 will be putting out, along with some unannounced titles from what's been going around lately, though, in case you're wondering, my cat's rubbing up to me. So it'll be interesting to see what these games are, basically see more info about these games. Okay, Rocky, come on. Come on. All right. We also learned that there are reports coming out, at least from Insider Gaming, that Ubisoft might pull the plug on XDefiant because of the low player count number, though. No word from Ubisoft at this time in regards of basically the game, but given what we're seeing with Concord and the whole situation surrounding live services games lately, though, it wouldn't surprise me if this is true or anything like that. We also learned that the developers of the upcoming Stalker 2 had to make some corrections on a comment that was mentioned of the game running at 25 frames per second and everything like that. This was in response to last week over a comment that was made that might have gotten lost in translation or anything like that, and this had to do with the Xbox Series S and everything. So we'll still have to wait to see how the game runs on the Series S and all. For up to this point, we've only seen what could be like running on the Series X and everything. We also learned that Capcom and Microsoft has sort of found a solution to bring 2 of the fighting game collections to the Xbox in general, and that is, you know, the Marvel Fighting Collection to the Capcom, one of the Capcom Fighting Collection that has Capcom versus SNK and everything like that. It's certainly nice that they have addressed this problem, especially how Xbox fans felt like they were being left out and everything like that. I just wish they don't have to go through this hurdle every single time and everything like that and all. And last but not least, we have a comment made by one of the Sony executives that seemed to think that the company doesn't have enough original IPs. And I do have to question that statement to a certain degree. I mean, there are plenty of IPs that Sony has that haven't been touched for a while, whether it's, the Resistance or Killzone series, to Dark Cloud or Rogue Galaxy, to Jack and Daxter series, to the Sly Cooper series. So there are certainly IPs that Sony could actually tap in and help kind of, even if they're like AA style, help kind of fill in that gap as they wait for those big AAA type of games and everything like that. I think one of my biggest criticisms about Sony this generation is that they relied too heavily on the big AAA type of experience, and you need something to help fill that gap in, though. And I think, and that's why I kind of have to criticize some of the decision making Sony has made and everything like that. So I do question this argument of what the Sony claiming, or one of the executives claiming that Sony does not have enough original IPs and everything. And finally, in the movie and TV show part of the Quick My 2 Cent, we saw the first teaser for the upcoming Minecraft live-action movie. And honestly, I would say right now my impression based off the trailer is it's not clicking for me. Even if you're a Minecraft fan, I'm not really 100% sure about this one. I just can't help but shake the feeling that this is going to go down the same route we saw with the Borderlands movie when that came out this year and everything like that. Time will ultimately tell. Maybe a second trailer will show the movie being in a better picture and everything like that. But right now, my impression so far is I'm not sold on it or anything like that. I'm just not sure taking the live action approach for this one was the right idea and all. We also have an article from the Direct that sort of brings the question of how they felt like the Deadpool and Wolverine movie may have helped save the MCU and everything like that, though. We'll admit that the MCU kind of has been sort of in a tough spot before Deadpool and Wolverine came out. I thought Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was the best entry in the Ant-Man series, but obviously it did not do well at the box office. Eternals, unfortunately, didn't do well, even though I liked the idea and I would have liked to have seen a sequel to it and all. The Marvels, unfortunately, did not do very well, which was a little bit unfortunate because I did enjoy Captain Marvel and everything like that. And so it just feels like Marvel was really in a very bad spot and all. And then Deadpool and Wolverine came out, and that one did very well for them. So it'll be interesting to see where the MCU goes from here following the success of Deadpool and Wolverine. Speaking of Marvel, basically there's apparently a lawsuit being filed by one of the folks who worked on X-Men 97, really enjoyed season 1 on Disney Plus on that one, over basically working conditions and everything like that. So we'll see how far this lawsuit goes and whether or not Disney ends up selling this out of court or if it really goes to court in general. We also learned that supposedly box office previews are coming out for the upcoming Beetlejuice, the sequel to the original 80s Beetlejuice movie. Right now, at least according to what Deadline is reporting, it does seem to indicate it could cross over the $100 million mark, which if that number holds when the movie comes out, though, I think that's pretty good and everything like that. I'm glad to see that it could get some high numbers, although some of that may be based off what the budget for Beetlejuice is. And if this one does well at the box office, which to me, fingers crossed, I'm hoping it does do well, this opens the door to the possibility of maybe a third Beetlejuice movie. Maybe they'll call it Beetlejuice and all. So we'll have to wait and see when the box office returns comes for Beetlejuice. But right now, if the box office estimates or the previews hold, it could do very well at the box office. We also learned that YouTube is going to be working on basically basically on an AI detection to basically help with sort of content creators and musicians over if certain things are being used and everything like that, though. It'll be interesting to see how YouTube basically handles this kind of situation. We're also learning that Lucasfilms may be looking at basically slowing down their output of Star Wars content on Disney Plus and maybe moving towards putting more Star Wars stuff in theaters. We know we have the upcoming Mandalorian Guru movie and everything like that. It doesn't mean that we won't see Star Wars content on Disney Plus, but maybe not as much, if this report is saying what this report is saying is true, as much as we did in the past. So be interesting to see how that all plays out. And last but not least, we have an article from IGN that reports that the upcoming Prime Video secret levels and everything like that, if I'm saying that correctly though, did have an episode with Concord into it though, but given what we've heard what happened with Concord, there was issues of whether or not that episode will remain in the upcoming Prime Video secret levels. However, according to IGN and what they're saying, according to their sources, is that the Concord episode, I believe, saying that it will remain in Prime Video. So despite the game being canceled, at least according to the reports though, it seems though that that episode will remain. I mean, if that's true, I'm kind of surprised to see them keep that on there despite what's going on with Concord right now and everything like that. Okay, with the quick My 2 Cent part now done, along with the movie and TV show part of our My 2 Cent, we'll get started with our first story, and this one has to do with the Star Fox series, particularly a certain comment that was made by, I think, one of the folks who worked on the original Star Fox series and all. Now, the Star Fox series, I will say, has had, ever since the peak for Star Fox 64, has always had some trouble trying to maintain some audiences and everything like that. Some entries were okay, some were not as much though. Star Fox Adventure was definitely a departure from what was in Star Fox 64. It wasn't bad, but I don't think, it didn't click with everybody out there, and it was also Rare's last game while working under Nintendo and everything like that. Star Fox Assault, again, some neat ideas, but not 100% perfect. Star Fox Command on the DS, again, it was nice to see a portable Star Fox, but unfortunately, the whole using of the stylus and everything like that, there was certainly a learning curve with that game and everything like that. I mean, and then of course Star Fox 64 got ported over to the Nintendo 3DS under Star Fox 64 3D, much like how Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask got ported over to the Nintendo 3DS. And then the last entry, Star Fox Zero for the Nintendo GameCube, worked on by Platinum. That one didn't do as well as I think a lot of people have hoped for. There were some ideas that weren't exactly great. My biggest grip was the whole idea of using the GameCube, the Wii U pad and everything like that. It felt like Nintendo was desperate to do something with the Wii U pad. Plus, the force motion controls I didn't think help either, to be exact though. So, unfortunately, since then, Star Fox has been kind of reduced to just making cameos in the Smash Brothers video game and everything like that, and it remains to be seen if we'll see another entry of the Star Fox series. However, a recent interview by one of the creators of the series seemed to indicate that we may see another entry in the Star Fox series soon and everything like that. Also, I forgot to mention Star Fox made an appearance in Starlink Battle of Atlas, which, again, I felt like that kind of basically gave us an idea of what a Star Fox game a new Star Fox game could be like, or an open world Star Fox game. But anyway, in an article from My Nintendo, it basically reads that, quote, at Gamescom, one of the authors from The Gamer got into some words with none other than a key character design for the Star Fox and F-Zero series. In the interview, they went over two dormant franchises and whether or not a revival for either or both of them could be on the horizon. The article continues, luckily for Star Fox fans, the key character designs believes that out of the two, Shigeru Miyamoto, the creator of both franchises, has got the strongest feelings for Star Fox rather than F-Zero. He then suggests that because of Miyamoto's love for Star Fox series, we'll see another game, film, or some kind of new development with the IP at some point, but I don't know when or what. And on his behalf, he already told Miyamoto to please give me a call for when or if a Star Fox movie gets greenlit. I wouldn't rule out a Star Fox movie, but it's too early to tell if that will ever happen. He also talked about the merits of adapting games into films. He says, he also talked about F-Zero and everything like that. He says that basically, the artist who said that hinted that Miyamoto would need a good reason or a new spin on the series to prioritize it over new games and new projects, though. This also had to do similar to when Nintendo President Reggie Fils-Aimé back in 2022 made a similar statement or anything like that. So in terms of whether we'll see another Star Fox game happen, again, it remains to be seen if it will technically happen, though. But I would look at one example I think could maybe revive the series or something like that, or perhaps maybe have them go back to the drawing board, or maybe, simplify it a bit more. I mean, look at Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door that got ported over to the Nintendo Switch. I mean, after that game came out to the GameCube, Nintendo tried to experiment with other entries in the Paper Mario series, like Super Paper Mario, Paper Mario Superstar Saga, Color Splash, and of course the Origami King and everything like that. And while they weren't necessarily bad, they didn't really click as much with everybody out there compared to what the Thousand-Year Door did. Plus, some people weren't a fan of some of the mechanics in some of the games. I mean, I was kind of mixed on the idea of what they did with the Origami King, with the battle system. I felt like there was more of a learning curve to that one compared to past Mario games entries, though. But we saw with the remake of, or remaster of, Super Mario RPG, and of course the port of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door to the Nintendo Switch, and those games did very well and all, because I guess a lot of people, my guess is this, and this is probably, I could be wrong, but a lot of it is making it, bringing back, the simplicity of it, not going overboard with trying new things that may not click with a lot of folks. So perhaps maybe that's what needs to be done with Star Fox in a way. Maybe be brought back to the basic to certain things. Don't go overboard with certain new things like motion controls or anything like that. So perhaps maybe that is the way, if they want to bring Star Fox back and all. Maybe they could do that with, the Switch successor or the Switch 2 and all. So we'll have to wait and see about that. As for F-Zero, I think a lot of people would love to see another entry in the F-Zero series, or at the very least port over F-Zero GX that was on the GameCube over to the Switch or the Switch 2. I think a lot of folks would definitely be open to it. I mean, great that we have F-Zero 99, but I think a lot of people would love to see a new entry and all. So overall, I would say I do think it's possible they could bring the series back, though, and we might see it on the Switch 2 if it does happen and everything like that. But I do think they need to ease up on trying to either do a new thing or put some gimmick in, like what we saw with Star Fox Zero and the motion controls, because as what we saw with Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door and how well that did, it shows you don't need to go overboard with the gimmicks and everything like that, though. I'm not saying you can't bring in new gameplay mechanics, but you don't need to go completely way out there with the whole gimmick thing, though. And if something like Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door can be successful on the Switch, then I do think it's possible another Star Fox game, maybe on the Switch 2 or whatever Nintendo calls it, might be successful on that system. It's always a possibility. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 2. And this one has to do with regarding the Zelda timeline and the possibility of where Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom could fit in. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 2 of my 2 cent video for this week. And for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the Zelda timeline, as there has been some interesting information that came out during Nintendo's Live's 2024 regarding where exactly Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom excuse me, is placed. Now, over the years, there have been many people wondering which game in the Zelda series takes place and everything like that. And up to this point, even though Nintendo has the official timeline where they are, there has been a lot of information that's come out exactly where the timelines, where each game fits. Obviously, Skyward Sword is the first entry in the Zelda series, and since then, after the events of Ocarina of Time, the timeline splits into what would be described, or at least how I see it, 3 different timelines. The Age of Decline, the Child Link age, and of course, the Adult Link age. The Age of Decline is often referred to, or as I like to call it, a what-if timeline, is when Link dies during the final battle against Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time, which ultimately the sages basically seal Ganondorf away, and this opens the door to stuff like A Link to a Past, A Link Between Worlds, Link's Awakening, Triforce Hero, and of course the original Zelda and Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link. There's also the adult and the child timeline. With the adult timeline, this opens the door with Ganondorf coming back after being defeated by Princess Zelda and Link, and this paved the way to stuff like Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, basically, and also Spirit Tracks. And of course, there's the kid timeline where the events of Ocarina of Time somewhat doesn't happen, and basically this opens the door to Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, Four Swords Heroes, and all. So up to this point, that's been often referred to as sort of like the official timeline, outside of basically, spin-offs like Hyrule Warriors, which is often referred to as sort of like a not really part of the timeline or anything like that. But ever since Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom came out, a lot of Zelda fans have been wondering where does that game fit in terms of the timeline. And there have been theories back and forth on exactly where it stands and everything like that. Well, recently, during the Nintendo Live event, there was a picture that showed where all the timelines are. But what was interesting is where Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom fit in. Now, there have been several articles, including this one from Nintendo Life, but it comes from basically from a site called BOTW, which is basically a Nintendo fan site that took a look at this timeline. And according to what the picture that they took, a picture that was shown, it seems as though that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are not part of the official timeline. In other words, if this is true, it's a separate timeline to be exact, and that's kind of interesting in a way, if assuming this is true. Obviously, nothing has been official, and so Nintendo hasn't said anything, so right now it could be viewed as pure speculation, but that is interesting if it turns out to be that timeline is completely, basically true, that this is a separate timeline. And it does make you kind of wonder, if that is the case, what does that mean going forward for like future entries in the Zelda series outside of upcoming Echo of Wisdom? Will that one be part of the timeline for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom? Will it be part of the official timeline and all? I mean, I could have a similar view with the upcoming Echo of Wisdom as well. Where does that fit in the Zelda timeline? So it's kind of interesting to see that, though. Again, I wouldn't lose sleep over it or anything like that, but it is still interesting, nevertheless, to see that it's not officially placed in what would be described as the official timeline and all. So overall, I would not be surprised if it turns out to be that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom are part of a separate timeline and everything like that. Now, if that's the case, I am curious to see what the next entry in the Zelda series, if that will be part of the Breath of the Wild timeline, or if they will continue to be part of the official timeline that I think a lot of Zelda fans know about and everything. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 3. And this one has to do with, unfortunately, some sad news at Rocksteady, and news that obviously not everybody should be surprised about, following what we saw with Suicide Squad killed Justice League. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with part 3 of my 2 cent video, and for this one, it has to do with, unfortunately, sad news coming out from Rocksteady and everything. Now, obviously, for most people will recognize Rocksteady as the ones that developed what many enjoyed, the Batman Arkham series and everything like that. Whether it's Arkham Cities, Arkham Asylum, Arkham Cities, Arkham Knight. Though a lot of people do enjoy that, and it really became like the type of superhero games we could see, if they are done correctly, especially with the combat system and everything like that. So when Suicide Squad was announced that they were made by the same folks who did Arkham series, though, many were kind of looking forward to the game, but once a trailer that was shown during a state of play that talked about it being a live service and looter shooter, immediately reaction to it was not that great and everything like that. This led to the game being delayed, and it definitely rubbed people the wrong way. There were those who did like the game, but it seemed as though it wasn't enough to convince a lot of folks. And when the game came out, it basically flopped really, really hard. And what even made it more sad was this was supposed to be the late Kevin Conroy's last role in terms of, supposedly, I'm not 100% sure about that, his last his last role was voicing Bruce Wayne and Batman and everything like that. And since then, we've had like different seasons, and supposedly they changed it that you weren't really killing the Justice League or anything like that. So there was a lot of back and forth on how this is all set up. We also learned how some of the lead folks left Rocksteady and everything like that. And now and not to mention Warner Brothers talking how the game flopped hard and everything like that. There were claims Rocksteady was not in trouble, but obviously that's not the case, as a new report coming out from Eurogamer seemed to indicate that unfortunately there were layoffs, and this is, while I'm sad, not really shocked by this in any way. In an article, again from Eurogamer, it reads that, quote, Rocksteady staff has told Eurogamer of redundancy at the studio following underperformance of Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. The company's Q&A department has seen its size almost cut in half over the past month. Eurogamer understands from 33 team members to 15, with poor sales of Suicide Squads directly cited as the reason for restructuring. The job loss extends outside of QA2. One staff member posting publicly on social media over the weekend revealing they have been told they would be made redundant in the middle of their parental leave, which I think that's just horrible and all. Eurogamer has contacted Suicide Squad publisher Warner Brothers for comment, but so far has not received a response. Rocksteady staff who requested to remain anonymous told Eurogamers that the loss of so many roles in the development Q&A department, including team members with specialized knowledge, would leave their remaining colleagues shrouded with more work. There's also been an acknowledgement by Rocksteady senior management that production quality will now suffer as a result, staff says. Staff members affected by job cuts, including numerous junior staff, but also several team members employed by Rocksteady for more than 5 years and all. So, yeah, this is really sad and very unfortunate to see basically some of these folks being left off or being let go because of the poor sales of Suicide Squad Killed the Justice League. But to me, I think a lot of the blame does not only should fall on the former or Rocksteady's management, especially WB Games for their push to try to get to this live service and try to jump on board what at the time was what they view as like a gravy train and everything like that. And to see these staff members suffer from this is just horrible. I mean, it's terrible. The management should be the one to be blamed for this if they gave the go-ahead to figure this is a good idea and everything like that. and it turns out to be it really wasn't in the end. I mean, right now, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is still up and running, but I would not be surprised at some point that they try to pull the plug on it. I mean, although we have heard that supposedly will be an offline mode, but who knows if that does or does not happen. I mean, on one hand, Redfall did eventually get an offline mode, which is great, but on the other hand, it wouldn't surprise me if they pull the plug on this game sooner rather than later. I know that supposedly they're doing another season, but who knows how long, who knows if that will happen or not. So very unfortunate what happened to a lot of these staff members. My heart goes out to them, and I'm hoping they're able to find a job, but I do think a lot of the blame does fall on management, both at Rocksteady and at WB Games and all. So overall, very sad what happened to some of these staff members at Rocksteady, though I'm hoping they're able to find jobs, and hopefully this means Rocksteady could go back and do what they're best at and stop doing like any of these live service stuff. Although it wouldn't surprise me if that studio gets killed off or anything by WB and all. I mean, right now there's been reports that WB may be moving away or having their own studios and everything like that, and mostly license their games out. So I would say, Rockstar's future remains, I would say, uncertain at this time. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to part 4, and we'll be talking about basically the situation surrounding Concord and Sony's decision to really, when you look at it, officially pull the plug on it. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our 4th part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be taking a look at the situation surrounding Concord, or should I say, the death of Concord and all. Now, since Jim Ryan, before he stepped down, there was definitely a push for Sony to do a lot of push for live service type of games, though, really jumping aboard, believing that live service games were the future and all. But lately, we've seen them sort of cut down that a little bit. Excuse me. To be exact, though, it was originally supposed to be 12. Now there's reports of it 6. And there has been some talks about lately some games, basically, like Destiny being in trouble to a certain degree, although supposedly reports about Marathon seem to be, at least what we've been hearing, positive or something like that. We've also saw, factions from The Last of Us get killed and everything like that. And then, of course, there was Concord that was revealed with a cinematic trailer, but so far didn't really click with a lot of folks. And then, of course, the sales number came out for the game, and they were, let's just say, abysmal. And it remained to be seen what was going to happen with this game. Would they try to reboot it? Will they try to fix it or anything like that? Well, it seems to be in the case of what Sony and developers Firewall, which were purchased by Sony for basically believing that Concord was going to be a success, though. It seems that is not the case, and they have decided to at least pull the plug on the game and everything like that. Supposedly, Sony put up a PlayStation blog that reads, quote, an important update on Concord, and this is what they had to say, quote, Concord fans, we've been listening closely to your feedback since the launch of Concord on PS5 and PC, and want to thank everyone who joined aboard the North Star. Your support and the passionate community that has grown around the game has meant the world to us. However, while many qualities of the experience resonated with players, we also recognize the other aspect of the game, and our initial launch didn't land as we intended. Therefore, at this time, we have decided to take the game offline beginning September 6th, 2024, which, as of recording this video, it's today, and explore options, including those that would better reach our players. While we determine the best path ahead, Concord sales will cease immediately, and we will begin to offer a full refund for all gamers who have purchased a game for PS5 or PC. If you have purchased a game from PS5 from the PlayStation Store or PlayStation Direct, a refund will be issued to your original payment method. They also point out customers who purchase from the digital storefront will also be refunded. More information from Steam and Epic, so they have that. In terms of physical copies for retailers, they say, quote, For customers who purchase a physical copy at retailers locations outside of PlayStation Direct, please refer to refund process of the retailers you purchase it from to obtain your refund. Once refunded, players will no longer have access to the game. We will keep you updated. And thank you again for all the free gunners who have joined us in the Concord Galaxy. They also worth mentioning that refund for PlayStation Store and PlayStation Direct purchase may take 30 to 60 days to appear in your bank statement. If your original payment source was unavailable, the purchase amount will be refunded to your PlayStation wallet, though. So to see this game get killed off very quickly is pretty surprising and everything like that, though. And the fact that this game flopped hard is, I think it's going to raise some questions about what's going to happen with Firewall, the developers of the game, and everything like that. Questions are going to be: are there going to be staff that are going to be fired or let go and everything? Which I certainly won't rule that out, and it wouldn't surprise me if that happens and all. Will Firewall be shut down entirely, though? So I will admit, part of me kind of feels sorry for the developers in a way and everything like that, but clearly this game did not click with everybody. Some might expect that this game could bounce back and pull like a Final Fantasy XIV, and while that is possible, I'm just not sure Concord's going to be it. I'm just not sure they're going to be able to pull that kind of stuff. Maybe if this was started out as a free-to-play game rather than a $40 price tag on it, it might have fared better. I'm not 100% sure. Maybe instead of going after a hero shooter or always online, maybe you do a single player game with it, though. So, I mean, maybe there could have been other ways they could have handled it and the game could have fared much better, but we don't know. But in either case, I seriously doubt Concord is going to pull a Final Fantasy XIV on us, and I truly believe the game is dead. I just don't see this one coming back unless they could do something that could really pull people back in. I'm just not 100% sure about that. And we've now seen physical copies and the controller for the game supposedly shoot up on eBay, which is pretty insane. It's about, I don't know how many people will purchase those stuff, to even reports of how some developers say they'll never work on a game again because of this. And if that's true, I don't blame them at all if this offered a bad experience and everything like that. What's also interesting is that this is coming off on the week that Astrobot has been released onto the PS5, and supposedly the reviews for the game have been pretty good. And if it does very well, maybe if that game does very well, and there's a very good chance it could, in terms of sales-wise, maybe this could force Sony to really rethink their strategy and maybe not focus as heavily on live service games as they did in the past or everything like that. So it'll be very interesting to see how Astrobot does and whether or not this will force Sony to maybe move away from doing stuff like Concord and everything like that. So overall, I would say I am not shocked to see Concord get pulled and everything like that. I don't think I do not have any high hopes that this game's going to make a comeback. I will say I do feel sorry for the developers who might be impacted by this, and I wouldn't be shocked if some of them are let go, or if Sony, after purchasing Firewall Studios or the developers of Concord, if they shut them down or everything like that. It would be unfortunate and everything, but I would not be completely shocked if that happened and all. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll get to our fifth and final part, and this one has to do with some interesting Switch 2 rumors going around, basically stating the possibility we could see it revealed this month or anything like that. So we'll take a quick break, and we will be right back. Okay, and we are back with our fifth and final part of our My 2 Cent video, and for this one, we're going to be talking about a interesting rumor about the possibility that the Switch 2 or the Switch successor, whatever Nintendo's going to call it, could be revealed this month. Now, ever since during one of Nintendo's fiscal reports came out, we've heard from them that they are working on their next system and that they plan to reveal more of it during their fiscal quarter or something like that, which ends around March 2025. Now, there has been some back and forth about when Nintendo might reveal the system, to what we could expect what's inside the system, ranging from the fact that it could be 4K docked and everything like that. It could be using NVIDIA's T239 chip, have DLSS. So there's been a lot of speculation what could and couldn't be in it though, but obviously we won't know until officially Nintendo reveals the system. And there has been some speculation on when Nintendo may be talking about their next system and all. Some believe that after Nintendo had that double direct in August, both the indie and the partner showcase, many believe that Nintendo could be talking about their next system soon and everything like that. Now, obviously, we have yet to hear from Nintendo when they'll start talking about their next system, but several analysts have started to weigh in, and many believe that September could be the month that they start talking about it though. There has been several tweets that have been posted out about it. First one comes from Christopher Dring, who posted the following: with industry whispers around something Switch 2 related happening this month, I thought I'd remind everyone of the official list of the greatest games console of all time. He puts Nintendo Switch and everything else. He believes that this could be the month to show it off, while Video Game Chronicles Andy Robinson doesn't seem to buy that argument entirely by making a claim saying, quote, "Seem a bunch of press has heard, but I still wouldn't bet my house on it." Basically responding to a post from someone named Steph saying Chris Drang said that he's heard industry whispers that something Switch 2 related is happening this month. And then we have one from David Gibson, who wrote that I think it might be September 18th to the 26th or in early October, avoiding the Tokyo Game Show. He also made a comment about how Switch 2 could be entering mass production. This one from Tech Radar, that he made a comment saying, quote, "No one seems to have noticed the Nintendo Assemble Hoshind, if I'm saying the name correctly, is spending 2 billion yen on production equipment and 1 billion yen on automation, if I'm saying the name correctly, for FY325 for the major customers in amusement, Nintendo." He adds that he expects September news and March 2025 release date for the next device. However, some are thinking that this month may not be when the Switch 2 is officially revealed. A comment made from a respected video game leaker by the name of Billy Bill Kun, Kun, had posted something on X saying that the industry whisper about a Switch 2 reveal this month is actually for a new Switch OLED model bundled with features the Sublime Super Mario Bros. Wonders and 3 months subscription to Nintendo Switch Online. So his belief is basically that this whisper of it is only for, this Switch OLED model and everything like that. Despite that, Chris Drake from Game Industry has since then doubled down on his opinion that the Switch 2 will be revealed in some form this month by Nintendo. He said in a new podcast that he heard information at Gamescom last month from several developers and all. And of course, there's reports about Switch 2 being backwards compatibility, at least according to industry insider Nate the Hate and everything like that. So first off, in regards of Switch being backwards compatibility, I'm leaning towards that's probably going to happen and everything like that. I think it would be a mistake for Nintendo to not have backwards capability for the Switch successor or the Switch 2. As far as entering manufacturing and all, again, it is possible. It could be true that it could be entering manufacturing as we speak, everything like that. But it's also possible it may not be true at all. So we'll have to wait and see. It remains to be seen if the system will be out by March 2025. There are some that believe it will be. Others are claiming it will probably be out by April or beyond April, to be exact though. I will say Nintendo is in a different position than where they were when they launched, the Switch from the Wii U, because obviously Nintendo wanted to move on from the Wii U. So I do think the situation is a little bit different for Nintendo. As for whether or not the Switch 2 could be revealed this month or in October, I mean, it is possible. I can't rule that out, to be exact. But on the other hand, it's also possible Nintendo could be preparing a bundle for the Switch OLED, you know, with Super Mario Bros. Wonder, if this leak is correct, though. I mean, so all this hype could just lead to nothing more than them announcing, hey, we got a Switch OLED with Super Mario Bros. Wonder bundle for you guys out there. So it is a possibility, and after all, Nintendo is trying to have the Switch 2 outsell, you know, not the Switch 2, the Switch outsell the PS2's lifetime sale. So it's possible in the end that it could be nothing more than them promoting another Switch bundle and everything like that. But again, I can't rule out the possibility they could be talking about the Switch 2 this month or next month. It's certainly not out of the realm of possibility at all. But we are going to have to wait and see if that does happen or not. So I'm going to take this, I would say overall, I'm going to take some of this with a grain of salt. I do think I am leaning more than likely it's going to be backwards compatible, though. I certainly would not be surprised if they are doing starting manufacturing on the Switch 2 right now and everything. But as far as it being revealed, I would say I won't rule out the possibility it could be out. They could reveal it by this month or next month. But at the same time, I wouldn't be shocked if all of this turns out to be is nothing more than Nintendo basically revealing, hey, we have a new Switch bundle. This comes with Super Mario Bros. Wonder and everything like that. So I wouldn't be shocked if it ends up being just that announcement and not the Switch 2. But we'll find out how things play out for September and how things play out for October and all, if that Switch 2 announcement does happen or not. Okay, this concludes this My 2 Cent video for this week. And again, these are my opinion. What are yours? What are your thoughts about the comments of one of the character designs for the Star Fox series made about the future of the series, though? Do you think we will see another entry in the Star Fox series? Do you think it's possible we could see it on the Switch successor or the Switch 2? What are your thoughts about this report about the possibility of where the Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and Tears of the Kingdom fit in the Zelda timeline, though? Do you think it's accurate that the fact that that is part of what could be part of a separate timeline? Or do you think Nintendo knows exactly where the timeline for Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom fit in? And do you think this could open the door to maybe the next Zelda game? If it is a separate timeline, do you think it could open the door for maybe the next Zelda game to be part of that timeline and all? What are your thoughts about the layoffs at Rocksteady, though? You think this is very unfortunate to see this happen? Were you surprised or not surprised given the performance of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League? And do you think it's possible that Rocksteady could be shut down by WB Games? What are your thoughts about Concord being shut down by Sony and Aulx Studios? Do you think this was the right decision to do? Were you shocked to see the game shut down that quickly? Or are you not shocked at all? Do you think that Astrobot, if that game does well, do you think this could maybe have Sony re-examine their approach? I mean, maybe not do as much like Concord-like games or anything like that. And what are your thoughts about some of these rumblings about a Switch 2 being revealed this month? Do you think that is a possibility that we could see it be revealed this month or next month? Or do you think it's most likely nothing more than them talking about maybe a Switch OLED bundle with maybe Super Mario Bros. Wonders, excuse me, or anything like that? Or you don't expect to hear any announcement at all, either for this month or next month? Do you agree with what I said in this video? Do you disagree? Do you have a difference of opinion? As always, sound off on the comment section below. Let me know what you think. And if you do like this video, I hope you hit the like button. I would appreciate it. And I hope you do subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you do, make sure you hit the bell icon for notifications of any new videos I put up. Also, feel free to share this video if you want to, and feel free to donate to my channel if you like. You could do it through PayPal Me, Patreon, or Steam Labs. Links will be in the description of this video, so me watching this on YouTube. And I will see you again next time when I do another video. Hopefully that'll be soon. Until then, from Southern California, I wish you all a good day then. Bye.